He ain't jumping over people because he for swag. He doing it because he really out of control.
Man, good morning, LL Nation. Excuse us, man. We're having some offline laughter, just talking about things. Early breaking news regarding the 2020 recruit. We'll get to that shortly, but welcome to the Lucky Lefty podcast. Today's show is entitled Measure That. We're featuring and brought to you by Onora Whisky. Go to OnoraWhisky.com. It's that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhisky.com. We see the comments, questions lined up. People referring to the question we had for the show on yesterday. What's the one Notre Dame player from any era that you would like to see line up and play one more time? Poll question of the day from yesterday. Overwhelmingly, 54% of you guys voted no. The question was, if indeed the Keaton Slovis rumor is true, do you think it's a good look for Notre Dame? 54% of you guys said no. 31% of you guys said it doesn't matter. And everybody else said it was a good look regardless. So I've talked to a few people. Some people just seem to think it was us Notre Dame doing its due diligence.
Yeah, I understand that. You're gonna have to. You want to take a look at everything. You don't want to leave no stone unturned when you're trying to find a quarterback to fit your team. But I thought about it a lot yesterday too, and I look at it like we got to get that BK taste out of our mouth. I said it a little bit yesterday, but some of that requires us letting go of some of those ideologies of somehow bringing a bunch of people in and competing for the spot is going to somehow boost the competition or level of the team. I just don't think that applies to the quarterback position. I think that strategy comes from like the Romans because, last man standing because all the other guys died. Unfortunately, nobody's dying in this situation, so you just got a bunch of frustrated guys that don't know how you're judging it. So I think a lot about why it doesn't work is because you got to think a lot of it how the NBA works.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers don't go into training camp with LeBron James and Frank Vogel first day of training camp say, all right, nobody's the starter. Everybody's got to earn their job. Nobody, I don't know who's going to start. Da, 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 da. LeBron James will have that man fired by the end of the sentence. But that's because it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that for the quarterback level. Like anybody we've seen successful at it, and I think if we're going to copy anything, it should be what Nick Saban has done. He's been able to have 3 NFL starters on his roster at the same time, been able to get all of them a chance to play their own season, all win championships, and all go first round, and they all, or get drafted in their own respective. And they were on the roster at the same time.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think any of those guys are more talented than the talent that we've had come through Notre Dame. I think Brandon is more talented than Jalen Hurts. I think I'm more talented than Tua. I think you could say Deshaun's got more talent than Mac, but we were all on the same roster at the same time, just like they were. And if anybody's taking advice from somebody, it should be taking advice from Nick Saban. But the ideology of just getting a bunch of guys that are good to compete in the same room, it doesn't do anything but make everybody unprepared. I mean, you're splitting reps the whole camp, and that just doesn't make the boat ride well. Like I said it, like what 2014, there's only one Captain Jack Sparrow to the ship, and that's true. You got to have one voice in that huddle. Got to have that one guy you're looking towards, and it just doesn't go well when you got a bunch of guys doing the same thing.
Yeah. So as I said before, from the 2022 recruiting class, we got some early news. Reports are saying that tight end recruit Eli Raron injured his ACL playing basketball. News came down this morning. We're trying to get some more confirmation on that, but that's the news that's been put out there early this morning. 2022 recruit tight end Eli Raron. And if you were on the Lucky Lefty podcast Twitter page, we have been showing his highlights of
Yeah.
the kid. Like, kid was averaging 24 and 9 this season in basketball up there in Iowa. Very athletic tight end. And if you can sneak an athletic tight end out of the state of Iowa, when they're known for tight ends and putting tight ends into the NFL, you know he's a pretty good pretty good recruit. So hopefully he can get to rehab. I think he's an early enrollee as well. So hopefully Matt Bate, they can get him on campus and start working on him, get him rehab, and then
Yeah, it sucks.
he'll
It
probably
sucks
red
when you
shirt.
wanna when you score. Yeah, you definitely red shirt. It's better to happen earlier than later, and you're an earlier release, so you get some good treatment
Yeah,
up there with Rob at school. But 24-9, man, it's hard to say I don't want to play.
yeah.
Clearly, he was out there balling and just stuff that happens in sports. But we can put to rest now that he would play good with Mike McGlinchey. Mike McGlinchey would dominate this guy. Mike McGlinchey ain't tearing no nothing playing basketball. That's a real hooper.
He was a little bit more sturdy. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, Mike McGlinchey's too smooth. He ain't tearing nothing out there.
All right, so we want to get to some of the practice comments yesterday. Braden Lindsay met with the media, Logan Diggs, George Tackett's. Braden Lindsay had some very, very interesting things to say. Also, tight ends coach John McNulty met with the media. He talked about the importance of the staff trying to get across in these practices just how good this Oklahoma State defense is. So that's what they've been stressing all day long in every practice. Like, yo, this is the best defense you're going to face all year. So this is my question. Like, I don't think this is the best defense they'll face all year. I think Wisconsin overall is better. I think Wisconsin's front four, even though they don't have the 54 sacks, Wisconsin, in my opinion, Wisconsin's linebackers in front seven are more dominant and faster than Oklahoma State's. So, in your opinion, is this going to be the best defense that Notre Dame will face all season long?
I agree with you. I think that the Wisconsin defense is a better defense. I do, however, think this defense that we're playing in particular in this bowl game will be a bigger challenge for us offensively because we're lacking a Kyron Williams
Hmm.
and because we've had a lot of different changes happen on offense. Losing Kyron, yeah, every defense we're going to play is going to be more of a challenge. And I think that's more of what they're trying to get across is that, look, our main guy is not going to be there. So we need guys to step up, and this defense is going to know that as well and play a lot tougher and make it harder for us to do what we want to do. So, if anything, it's a call to action to that running back room for them to step up and have a big day by committee. And we might see a star pop out or a lead guy who we're looking forward to for that Ohio State game taking that first carry. In this game right here, considering it's the same defensive coordinator, so the same guys in that running back room are going to give them problems. But also is that it's a call to action to our receivers. More attention will go to them now that Jack can't just turn around and hand it off all the time
Yeah.
yet until he knows what he's getting. So there's going to be some challenges and some comfortability issues where you on third down you just can't call 23 up to the challenge. So we'll see who steps up to the plate. I think it's a Michael Mayer game where he gets some chances to be open. It'll be those one on ones that are boost his draft stock hopefully.
I mean, if you look at the Big 12 championship game, the tight end position for Baylor was very successful against this multi-front defense that likes to get out of the court after the quarterback. And even though they won't have their defensive coordinator, I still look for them to be aggressive, but they still have the same issues, which is overall speed on that defensive unit. Like they get after the quarterback. Their front reminds me of the 2012 defensive front for Notre Dame. Like there was no speed rush, but they would like just push the pocket, get after you, guys like Capron, coming off the edge, and then you had the big guys in the middle. So I'm not particularly worried about somebody from a speed standpoint, just getting around our tackles. I am interested in seeing how Josh Lugg, handles himself at right tackle with that freshman All
Yeah,
American.
they're definitely going to send some different looks, especially for a bowl game. You always got to be prepared for one or two more blitzes that you may not have seen
Especially with
all
new running
season.
backs. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're gonna have some. They know Kyron's out, and most likely they know with Kyron being out, the pass protection for the running backs will be challenged.
Yeah.
So things that we are usually used to seeing, hopefully the fans aren't going to blame on the linemen for not picking up some of this stuff. But early on, until the running backs get comfortable, it will be some protection issues. I'm assuming, considering the speed Oklahoma State defense has, as well as them flying around. They're experienced defense, so they know what they want to get out of certain situations. And for our running backs and pass protection will be a bigger challenge than running because all these guys are talented. So for Jack, getting the ball out of your hand quick on third down is going to be a big key in the game because I don't think they're going to sit back and let us just do what we want to do either.
Now, early on in the season, they had to go to the quick passing game because of the struggles in the offensive line. And then as the season went on, the defenses got a little less stout. They were able to go and really get to more of a 3 to 5, not three, but 5 to 7 step drop and go deeper down the field and take bigger shots. I think we'll see a mixed bag of that. I think early on, because of the pressure and because of the intensity of the game, you would expect Oklahoma State to come after Notre Dame, blitzes, and with that front seven. And I think the short passing game, I think Logan Diggs and Chris Tyree in the game at the same time is going to be very effective. Very effective.
Yeah, I think the factor for us to really go after is the tight ends and the running backs on their linebackers.
Yeah.
That's the best matchup for us because one, we can get the ball out of our hands in space better, have a better chance and higher completion percentage throwing it to our backs versus running linebacker. But also to get them out of the protection. We don't if they're not comfortable protecting, let them get out of the pocket, make them run a route, throw it to them. So I'm really excited to see how the game in between the lines is played with Tommy, especially having to have a mixed bag of different things because he can't call him all reliable and Kyron. And just his trust in Jack to be able to, like we said, guide the ship into the dock because at this point in the season, you got to go lean on your veterans. I think this is why they got Jack
Yeah.
for a situation like this. Is for the end of the season to be able to finish the game strong and not let the weight of the game fall on the shoulders of a young kid.
So Braden Lindsey, wide receiver, still hasn't decided if he's coming back. He's graduated, which is dope. I love to see guys coming to the program not only perform on the field, but mature and develop off the field as well. And he was asked an interesting question about wide receivers getting early playing time in Notre Dame as a freshman. And he said I think he said it was 2 series he played as a freshman that he realized he wasn't ready to play. And he said the only person during his time at Notre Dame that he felt like from a talent standpoint that was ready to play as a freshman was Lorenzo Styles Jr., which I thought was like, wow. Now you talked about Chase when he first got to Notre Dame and physically how he was ready to play. But just talk about what it really takes as a freshman to come in and make an immediate impact at that position of wide receiver. Or is it like coming into Brian Kelly's system is one thing, but stepping into like an Ohio State system is one system more geared for a freshman to be able to make an impact early at that position?
It's really dependent on the coach. Coach Kelly just was very particular about who he really wanted. Even with Will Fuller, Will should have been starting since day one, but he just didn't give him the opportunity at that point because we was with TJ and we were trying to make TJ Jones the number one receiver and stuff. So, and then Devaris was there too. So we
Yeah,
had guys ahead of him. So a lot of it, I think, it's just a respect for the older guys, just to let those guys ride out and using the basis of those guys. Younger guys have time,
yeah.
but I mean, Alabama finds ways to play young guys first day. So it really just depends on where you can fit in that system. And then from a player's perspective, whatever you do good, just continue to do that at an early age. So if all you can do is catch, that just better be your best thing, and that'll get you on the field the fastest. I think for a guy like Chase being physically ready, Chase was from Canada, so like a football, uh, a natural football instinct wasn't all the way there. But from a body standpoint, you can throw him out there for a couple block plays. Like for instance, my roommate James Onowalla, who came in as a receiver from Michael Floyd School, big brute, hands
Pretty
were a
thorough.
little,
Yeah,
yeah, suspect, but he got in the game freshman year, but it was just a block. You know
yeah,
what I mean? But that's how he fit, and then he ended up being in special teams, and so he ended up finding his role through what he was doing good. So even though he was a receiver, he ended up being a linebacker in the league, but it just shows his flexibility of what happens in a system where, sometimes you can go to a system you don't fit in, but it doesn't have necessarily do with your talents. It's just the thing that the coaching staff wants. So a lot of it just depends on the coaching staff. If you're like a Travis Hunter at Jack going to Jackson State, he's gonna play everything. I can
right.
imagine.
Both
Like
sides of
coach
the
is gonna
ball,
put
right?
him, yeah, like he's talented, but does he know everything about coverage or the technique? Absolutely not.
Right.
But Coach Prime is going to put him in at every position because of his relationship and because he's talented. So,
Yeah,
so
that
Lorenzo
to
Styles
me,
definitely could have played. Just like and that's the same thing for Tyler Buckner. Tyler Buckner has no idea the things that Jack Cohn knows mentally.
right.
But if Coach Kelly was doing it the way we suggested, Tyler Buckner would be at a way better position to play at Oklahoma State now than he would be doing the things he was doing to get ready during the season.
So once again, he talked about the transition of his first semester at Notre Dame off the field as well. He took 18 credit hours to make sure that he would be able to graduate early. How difficult is that at Notre Dame? 18 hours.
Well, I did it by going in early. So that
Okay.
was instead of doing 18, I just came a semester earlier. But doing 18 hours, I don't know how. But that's the thing too, is like you can take 18 hours when you're not getting no practice reps.
Man, that's a
You know what I
perfect
mean?
segue, but go ahead.
That's what makes it so hard of a transition is when you don't get no practice reps, school instantly becomes the focus, and you realize, yeah, this is really hard. This ain't no easy thing to go through. So when he talks about not being ready to play as a freshman, yeah, because during the whole getting ready for it, you probably took a total of 5 reps against guys that were threes and fours like you at the time. So when you get in the real game, you're like, man, this is too much.
Facts.
So and then so yeah, so your freshman year is a tough transition if you're not in that spot to play. But it's really about focusing at that very junction of your career. Just do what you're really good at. Like Brady Lindsay, I would have been like, look, you're fast. So in one-on-ones, just keep running by people, even if you don't catch it, because they'll put you somewhere to do that.
So let's talk about Braden Lindsay. Matter of fact, let's listen to Braden Lindsay a little bit, talking about the difference in the practices as they prep for the Fiesta Bowl.
I'd say it's been relatively similar, just from like a overall standpoint, like just like what we're doing like a day-to-day basis in the Goog and like our actual schedule. But the practice itself, I'd say it's a higher percentage of like good on good. So it's been a bit more competitive, and I think that's kind of part of the culture that he wants to bring in. He always mentions enhancing. I think in direct relation to that, we've seen like our practice competitiveness rise. So it isn't just like an on-off switch from practice to games. It really feels like we're playing ball every day.
So this is the third athlete at Notre Dame mentioned the on-off switch. The third athlete at Notre Dame has mentioned the difference in practice and the mentality of not hitting the on-off switch going into games. So the flat starts we would see down in Miami, up at
Yeah, that
Michigan,
there's no excuse.
no
There's no
excuse
excuse.
now.
There's zero excuse for it.
Like we expect Notre Dame to come out with their hair on fire. Seven plays, 75 yards, end zone. Kevin Austin on a 7-yard touchdown. 7-zip Notre Dame over Oklahoma State. Like that's what we're expecting.
Yeah, I'm expecting a first drive of the game being a touchdown because of the focus on this particular answer. you know, they're particularly saying this is way more intense. Our mentality's way different,
Yeah.
and now we're carrying ourselves different. There is no more, I get the monotonous of what the practice used to be because they're literally 4 reps, and you don't really get a redo. You just kind of move through the schedule, so you really become robotic, and then you're only getting 4 reps, and if you mess up, you keep going. Then the twos are getting three reps every time, so you're not really getting a flow. It's a lot of standing around at practice, so I definitely understand how anything different than that would be a huge difference. So I know Marcus Freeman saw instantly what was the worst part about practices, and he made a change on those, and the players noticed instantly. And that's just some of more what you want to see from your new head coach, something that can make an instant impact and not something that you're just seeing through social media.
Did you guys ever go good on good? And like, what's the benefit of good on good for like LL Nation? Let them know the benefit of going good on good instead of like always running plays against the scout team in practice.
Yeah, during the season it gets real tough because you're doing a lot against the scout team, and you're still working on your craft throughout the week. So there's things that the DB you will practice against and watch film against is different. The scout DB is not giving you the same effort that the guy on film that you're going against. So you catch yourself in getting to a lazy habit of not working on the technique that you're supposed to get open for that week. So
Mm.
doing that practice after practice, you get into the game and you're seeing press, and they're really pressing you, and you can't get off, and everybody's like, "Oh, we can't get off man coverage." Well, yeah, because scout team they're not pressing us. We're not giving enough good on good, and when we do, it's just a couple of reps at the end of practice where we're kind of tapped out. So reversing that and starting with good on good and getting more reps at that, you get a better flow and rhythm for especially young kids. Now NFL,
Yeah.
that's more the style for practice because your technique is at a master level if you're a pro. For college, let them bang on each other a little more. I think we shouldn't go about the same rules as like the CBA because we're kids. We got a lot more energy, a lot more time to work on technique, and that requires good on good because that's what gives you your confidence going into the game. Like for a quarterback going against the one defense, I know if I'm roasting and cooking them, I know I got a good chance on Saturday. But if I'm throwing picks in practice
Yeah.
and we're not making a big deal out of it, or if I'm not converting in third down against our ones and we just moving on, when it happens in the game, we don't react to it as like it's nothing. That's what we do in practice. So that going against good one on one and taking it serious and making those reps count are what's going to translate into having a slow start to a fast start for this game.
Yeah. You look at McKinstry, the defensive back, the freshman that started for Alabama, struggled early in the year into the middle of the year. But every day in practice, when you're lining up against Jameson Williams and Mechie, eventually you're going to get better
Yeah.
because the guys that you're facing aren't better than the two guys on your squad.
Yeah, there's no way Alabama goes in ever thinking that they got receivers they couldn't handle, considering their practice against the best every week. And that's kind of how Clemson was built, like a farm system. Ohio State's built like that. But they're built like that constructively and organized. Like they're not built in terms of guys trying to usurp the other guy every time because there's no development in that.
Right.
So I kind of like the trend of what they had with Jack and Tyler Buckner being the age difference. So there's a respect of knowledge, there's a respect of experience that takes place naturally. But when you're openly in the media pitting guys against each other about who can outdo the other on a subjective decision made, it doesn't do anything for that room, especially for building the camaraderie you need during the season for a quarterback room.
All right, we got our first super chat, bro. I ain't afraid of no goats. Thank you for the super chat. Guinness.com, JM Irish blessing. Bother anybody else that the end of the Irish blessing is purposely cut out of that commercial. Until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hands. I haven't seen the commercial, so link me to the commercial. If you have a link to it, put it in the chat so I can check it out. I haven't seen it, but I know the lesson that you're talking about. And
he definitely snuck on campus though to shoot that because I'm surprised nobody was putting pictures on social media of him being there.
yeah, I guess you're right. But you know what? If it was a 30-second spot, maybe they might have like a longer version that has it in there, because that can happen too. Because if you see the shorter version of the commercial, say like a 30-second, 29-second, and then they might have like a 59-second that has more detail and has the full blessing in there. So I'm not sure. I'm just playing, from a production standpoint, just saying it might be a longer version out there. Matt, 2011 GT, thank you for the super chat. The Slovis thing does have me concerned regardless of what of it. If it was for depth, you don't have to be the first guy on the phone looking for a depth guy. Stinks of BK ineptitude.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. Just it was the way we did it. Being the first guy, so thirsty, like it doesn't look good for a program where not only we're making a transition to something better, but we're not done with the season yet. And our focus doesn't seem like it's on the game. It seems like it's on the transfer portal. And that's not helping us as a team get better for what we got to finish the season with. Now, if this was after the game, off season, the story wouldn't even be that big of a deal.
Right.
But if we're the first guy calling in the middle of the season for a rival quarterback after we done had a better season than him,
yeah,
it's like dang, like what you so this 12-1 don't mean nothing. Like me doing all this doesn't mean anything. So hopefully it doesn't get to Tyler Buckner's desk that we don't like him.
like we said yesterday, it really wasn't about Keaton Slovis. Like it could have just the fact that it comes across that Notre Dame had somebody looking at the computer screen, waiting for quarterbacks to pop into the portal. That's what it looks like. Like they're looking for a quarterback. And for them to be the first call is just concerning because the narrative around that quarterback room needs to change moving forward. There needs to be development of quarterbacks moving forward.
Well, it
Especially
starts with a
big time guys.
it starts with a commitment to the quarterback. Like we said, like teams have had great production and were committed to their guys. Even Nick Saban committing to each one of his guys during that time when they had Mac, Tua, and Jalen. They each got their time and they
Yeah.
got the respect and the trust, so they were able to develop. I don't think Tyler feels that he's trusted by the staff, even if they played him this year, because the way they played him, they didn't play him to develop him. They played him to get through the game, and I don't think that's what you should do with the quarterback position. Like I said, the Lakers aren't going into the game being like, all right, LeBron, you
Right.
and THT are going to split minutes, and we're going to see who's better at the end of the day. That's a you don't do that. It's time to let's treat it like it is. It's time to treat our favorites like the favorites and rock out like that. Nurture the guys that are our best players, and let's not fake it. We're so used to having this PC way of running the team, but we
Yeah.
should be PC in the media, but run the team like you want to win, like the Rams. So what? They drafted Jared Goff #1. They got rid of him, got Matthew Stafford, then got Odell, and it's just they're gonna keep going until they want to win now. So that's part of that shifting gears and that not turning on and off is about winning now. I think that's something Marcus Freeman's committed to. He's changed practice to win now, and that's something we should do in recruiting is win now. Let's win now in our recruiting.
I'm putting you on the petty. I saw what you did there. You real smooth with it though. You could have used anybody else on the Lakers roster, but you wanted to pit a Chicago dude against an Ohio dude. I saw what you did. You're real smooth. What? Real smooth. You grabbed the Chicago dude to be the lesser of the two. I see what you did.
Now listen,
You
listen. You
always
talking
trying
about
to big up
LeBron James
Ohio.
now?
You always trying to big up Ohio, but you didn't have to grab the Chicago dude. You could have grabbed DeAndre Jordan. Anybody.
I was thinking who's handling the rock for the Lakers most of the time.
You could have grabbed Rondo. He's from Kentucky. That's a bordering state. But you had
That's
to
a
grab the
border
Chicago
state.
dude. You always poking at the bear. Always poking at the bear.
That's funny.
Let's get to another one. John A1, good morning, Lucky Lefty. What's good with it, John? Hopefully these good on good practices prepare the O-line to face a defense that has 55 sacks. If the O-line is good, ND should win. ND should win, period. Like,
Yeah, period.
this is competition. Like, if it's a good defensive line, they're going to win some battles. It's not like Notre Dame's about to go out there and just push them around. They're going to win some battles. Ultimately, we have more talent, and it's Tommy Reed's job to get them in position and get them in open space to take advantage of the lack of speed on that defense.
And I don't think it's a physical outmatching that we'll see versus Oklahoma State, but I do think it's like a cunning, like they'll swim move us on third down or get us with a okey doke twist or something. I don't think it's something as like, oh, they're gonna chase young bulldog rushers through to the quarterback. It's gonna be more of twist and scheme and experience on that D line. That's gonna give us some problems early, but the good thing about us is that we're good at adapting up front, and we get stronger as we get through the game. So that O line is probably going to be the smartest O line that Oklahoma State defense has played. So it'll be a good battle of the mental in the trenches for this one.
Facts. William Wolf, thank you for the super chat. Cone will likely start, but how short is his leash in this game? I'm concerned the O-line might struggle a bit. He's the guy. I think that decision has been made, right? You don't get
If
to
we
the
look at
bowl
the
game.
quarterbacks, then that means Cohen's definitely the guy. If
Yeah,
we
he's
look
the
at
guy.
the guys in the season.
He's the guy.
But
I don't see. I mean, Tyler might get a series, but Jack Cohn's the guy,
I
especially
think Tyler
at
will.
the end of the game.
Yeah, Tyler will only get a series if a couple different factors. If we're up by a lot, um, or if there's a certain part of the 10-play series that they script before the game
Yeah,
where he gets in there. I think because Brian Kelly's left, this whole change of pace, we need a jump start offense. I think that came from Coach Kelly, which is when Tyler Buckner used to get in.
yeah,
Now I think Tommy having more control. He understands the importance of how the flow is because he played it, and that he knows that this is Jack's type of game. Considering we're in the transfer portal looking for quarterbacks as we're still getting ready for a game. So, I think this is Jack's game to lose. I think the only way Tyler gets in is if Jack just completely bombs or if we're bombing them. So,
yeah. And then you have to play the game. I'm very interested in how Marcus Freeman will adapt to the flow of the game, right? Because you have your game plan, but if it becomes a defensive battle early on, then does he go to Tommy and say, "Okay, look, let's be careful. I'm pretty confident that our defense is going to keep them at bay. Let's just make sure we get some points and get out front. Might maybe not be as aggressive as we intended coming into the game, but let's score, get out in front, then play to our defense and win this game."
yeah, I think if it's a defensive game, I think Marcus Freeman will feel more comfortable than a shootout.
Yeah,
I think in a shootout he would feel a lot more frantic because that's on him. He's like, man, I can't stop these guys. I got to worry about us keep scoring. I don't know who's going to keep doing it.
right.
So I do think if it's a defensive game, this will fit just what Marcus Freeman wants, and then he can lean on his coaching staff, especially Tommy, to bring up their end of the bargain. So I hope it's a defensive game. Well, I hope we have good defense out there for Marcus Freeman, get Oklahoma State a little rattled, keep them to a low scoring point total, so we can finish the season right with an offensive victory. Especially missing Kyron, I think it'll give us a lot of boost of motivation and inspiration and aspiration with all the aspirations to get into the next season against a team like Ohio State that we got to be ready offensively. This is an offensive game. I think defense will be there and be fine. Marcus Stream's gonna be working all offseason. You see it in recruiting. So defense will be optimal for that game, but offensively, we need to show dominance in this game. That's gonna give us some confidence moving forward for that first game.
Absolutely. So, got to you just a little bit late. Our question of the day. Want to see you guys talk about it in the chat. What? Because we're talking about measure that. We're going to measure each positional group and how they measure up, whether or not they're elite or good, or what's the promise going into 2022 for that positional group, and even in the Fiesta Bowl. Which positional group has the most promise to be dominant in 2022? Which positional group has the most promise to be dominant in 2022? I'm going to start with this, bro, because I'm going to jump out on a limb. I really think this offensive line is going to be dominant next year, bro. I really do. I really do. Especially if Jared Patterson comes back. And what we're hearing, if Harry Heastand is involved in some way, form, or fashion, I don't care if it's just watching practice and being a consultant. I really think this offensive line in 2022, when they walk into the horseshoe, it could shock a lot of people.
I think Jared Patterson coming back is tied to Harry Heastand. I think if we get one, we get the other.
Okay.
Because that'd be the only reason I come back. I mean, you was already All American this year, watch list. You were top center in the nation anyway. So the only reason why I'm coming back is for Harry Heastand guidance. So I think if we get one, we get the other. I do think they'll be the foundation like they were a couple years ago in 2015, 16, 14 years. They'll be the foundation piece because of the what we've got put together with the experience and the young talent. That's how you get a great solid offensive line is with superstar young guys and experienced older guys. And so the babies can learn from a guy like Jared Patterson. It's sort of supposed to happen with Blake Fisher and Jared Patterson this year, but it got disrupted. But he was able to influence some of the younger guys to step up as well that we wasn't really expecting. So I do believe the offensive line will be the solid part of our offense moving forward next year. But I'm going out on a limb and saying the receivers are going to make a turn, led by Styles.
Yeah.
And I think Styles' talent is going to drive the room to be more competitive, which is going to make everybody take a step up. I think he's going to push the room to take that step up and help Tyler out because I think Tyler can really throw, and we'll see more of that with trust coming from Tommy to let him do that instead of working on his track speed and running back, running through the holes and stuff. So
yeah,
I'm expecting them to make the difference because if we make the difference there with a solid O line, we'll see a totally different Notre Dame program offensively moving forward.
Michael Johnson chimes in. O line. Thanks, Mike. Corey. What's up, D line?
I think linebackers will have more than D. Yeah, I think linebackers.
Jay says the O line and linebackers will be dominant next year. Based upon your film and you watching the film, how early does Jalen Sneed play?
See, I'm gonna be careful because I said
he definitely plays.
Yeah, he definitely plays, but I'm thinking about Prince Colley because I thought Prince Colley should have played when he first stepped on campus too.
Yeah.
But it's all about how if he can get it, I want him to play the first snap. Obviously, I think his talent requires him to be out there in some aspect. Maybe he's not the Kyle Hamilton center of the defense yet, but he definitely deserves some snaps to fly around and get his feet wet for sure. I think defense, you got to get out there first day.
Thanks for the super chat, Matt. 2011 GT. If that O-line dominates, I think the running backs and wide receivers have a chance to step up. That running back group,
O-line get better. Everybody get better.
Hey, because of the senior season of Jadarian Price, that line, if he's number 4 on your roster in that room, if he's your 4th running back, that running back room is looking pretty good.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Definitely looking good, especially the fact that you got a guy that can damn near start right now.
Man.
And when you talk about changing the program, you need guys that can play right now.
Screen pop.
And Jadarian Price is one of those.
Alan Krentz from up there in Iowa says that's simple, the tight end group. The tight end group is pretty deep.
That's not a group that's jumping out because they're already out.
No, they're already out.
That's we producing tight ends every other week.
That group was always dominant.
Do you remember a time when we didn't have a tight end? I don't remember a time when we didn't have a tight end.
The only program that turns out more tight ends, and I won't even say from a quantity standpoint, but from a quality standpoint, once they get to the NFL, Iowa tight ends are better in the NFL.
But that's because we get the guys that can go as a freshman to the league. We got guys pre-made, pre-rolled, already ready to go.
Yeah.
Iowa and George Kittle. George Kittle didn't look like George Kittle freshman year than he did senior year. So Iowa's always been great at developing talent, especially talent you haven't heard of.
Let's see. Well, Malik is closer than me, so maybe he can, get in the car and get on the road. I, for one, have an assignment on that day. I actually will be engineering the Fiesta Bowl back in the studio for ESPN Radio. So, no, I won't be at the Fiesta Bowl.
I got tickets for somebody they want to go. So holler at your boy after the show.
You should do a giveaway.
Oh, yeah, let's do a giveaway. You should
do a giveaway connected to Onora Whisky.
How about that? You send me a picture of your, what do you say? Send me a picture of your receipt for Onora Whisky. We'll do a raffle on the show. And
Absolutely.
We'll give the tickets away.
Absolutely. Right now, breaking news. Fiesta Bowl ticket giveaway right here on Lucky Lefty Podcast. All you have to do is go to OnoraWhisky.com, purchase some premium American whiskey, and you know what? Tweet it or put it on the Instagram. You can put it at Lucky Lefty Podcast, at Lucky Lefty Pod on Instagram or Twitter, or you can send it to Overtime Malik on Instagram and Malik at Malik Zaire 8 on Twitter.
Yep.
There you go. Send a picture of the receipt. We'll have a draw, pick out the name and the winner. And let's do it Friday.
Let's do it Friday.
Friday, we'll have a drawing to see who wins the tickets to the Fiesta Bowl. Brought to you by Onora Whisky, OnoraWhisky.com.
That's like radio stuff. That's radio stuff right there.
That's how we do it. Giveaways. Let's see.
Be the 100th caller you can meet. Marcus Freeman on the sideline.
You know what? Have another one because I'm going to go away from everybody else. Everybody else is stating the obvious.
Okay.
I already said the O-line. I'm going to go to defensive backs because Cam Hart.
Wait a minute.
Wait. Listen to me. Just listen.
Wait a minute.
Just listen to me. Listen to me. Right? Cam Hart becomes that true lockdown number 1. Right? Your guy, no, Xavier Watts.
I like Xavier
youngsters at safety. Very solid.
Very solid.
Very solid as a Cal Hamilton.
Yeah.
Now they get more because they didn't play that position. Now they get a full off season with Mike Mickens and Chris O'Leary to learn the position. So you're solid. That's 3 spots out of the 4. You're solid. Now, either one of the redshirt freshmen step up, or Clarence Lewis and Tariq Bracy has to get a whole lot better.
Clarence Lewis got to go. That's why I'm like jumping
have
out.
A real good pair. We can't be that dude. We need him to be real mean, get a mean streak, and just cover better. Especially
now, what does jumping out refer? Like, are we saying like DBU jump out, or are we saying like we're leading the defensive turnovers
and interceptions?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm gonna hold you to it. That's a great. If we do that, we win a championship.
It's boring to just be like O-line, D-line. No. Cam Hart can be a lockdown corner.
I agree.
Facts. Ramon Henderson, Xavier Watts really get a full offseason under their belts with Chris O'Leary and Mike Mickens at the safety position. You love the range. You love the speed. You've already seen both of them show range speed. Xavier Watts shows you he'll come down and tackle.
Xavier Watts show you, yeah.
So you're straight. That's 3 or 4. All we have to fill one spot out of the entire roster. I mean, we had Jaden Mickens coming in, right?
Yeah.
Bulldog. Morrison. Bulldog. Morrison might be the most underrated recruit of the 2022 class.
He's underrated because he's got the most technique and the most instinct out of all.
Your audio just dropped. I don't know why your volume.
Did you hear me right here?
Yeah, you good.
I said he has the most technique and instinct out of all of the
Morrison,
yeah. I like Morrison. Yeah, I like Morrison. He may not be the most, like, I can see why he's not the 5-star that some of these other guys are, but from a football player, he's a football player. Yeah, I like Morrison.
And see, a football player, that reminds me of Kavari. Like, Kavari was a football player.
Yeah, Kavari wasn't like, I wouldn't be thinking, oh, Kavari is the shutdown corner thing. Kavari is a foot. You just put him out there, he'll just find his way to the football. He'll make a play.
Yep.
Like, and that's kind of where that's really where football is heading. And I think Marcus Freeman's recruiting of the defense shows it, is that he's bringing in athletes. He's not really bringing in position players. He's bringing in athletes that are football players that you can close your eyes and feel good. If you throw 11 of those guys on the field, they'll just figure out their spots and play hard and fast. And I think that's why where the game is going. You see Keon Entringer, you see a guy like Jalen Sneed, you see a guy like Xavier Watts, guys that can play everything except DN. I think that's what you want to have on defense.
Yeah. So shout out to everybody in the chat. You're right. That was a leap. I had to take the leap, right? Because we're talking about this program taking the next step. We're talking about enhancements. That DB group taking a step up to elite status. That's an enhancement. Because we haven't had that since like the 90s.
Yeah, seriously. We haven't had dominant DB plays.
Your volume went back down.
Throw it. We haven't had that in a while.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I want to watch the DBs in the Fiesta Bowl. I really do. I want to see these.
They'll be challenged against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State gonna throw that thing out there with bubbles and make them tackle. And
yeah, Spencer Sanders is also gonna gift you about 3 interceptions too.
Let me see what them hands looking like, Cam.
We're gonna see what the hands look like. Let's see. I think we got all the super chats. Matt Anderson, here we go. This is perfect. He was responding to Michael Rice in the chat. I don't understand what Pine supposedly did wrong to never play again after what? The Toledo game, was it? I forget which game. He basically came in and won the game for Notre Dame. That was the Wisconsin game. He came in, led the drive, threw the touchdown pass to Kevin Austin, won the game. He's the people's champ, dude. I keep telling you,
but he said the problem in the same sentence. He forgets. He forgets because Drew Pine isn't a guy to remember at that spot. And if we're asking what did he do wrong? That's the problem.
Yeah.
We need to be asking, why is he not out there? Because he's such a force. You see what I'm saying? We doing something. It's not about like, look, we're beyond doing things wrong to get there. We know who we are as a team. We know how we can win the games we can win. But we need guys that's gonna do the right thing. We need the difference maker that's gonna do the right thing. Beat the Bama, beat the Georgia, beat the Ohio State. If we didn't care about that, Drew Pine could start for us.
Facts.
Like,
You
yeah,
know
Drew
what?
Pine.
And that's enhancements. That's another enhancement, like screen poppers. Like we talk about it all the time. The program needs more screen poppers. Drew Pine is not a screen popper. Very solid player.
Huh,
Very good. If
yeah,
you surround him with supreme talent, he
we
can
can
win you
win 9
football
games.
games. He can win you football games. Absolutely. Tyler Buckner hit campus, and Tyler Buckner is he's a screen. He's more of a screen popper than Drew Pine. Now, if you just
Yes,
watch him in practice, Drew Pine is probably leading the offense, knows the offense better. Absolutely. But Tyler Buckner gets on the field and something happens. Something just happens. And so when you see that as a coach, you're like, man, we have to get him on the field
yes.
because he makes things happen. Doesn't necessarily mean he's a better quarterback at that particular time, but most coaches want people on the field that can make plays and can make things happen. They'll take the high risk over the lower floor. Over the lower ceiling.
Because it comes down to winning and,
Yeah,
and, and producing wins. And we know that, you're gonna get us down to the 20, but third down and 8, it ain't enough play calls in the plays, to for me to be like, I'm gonna get you in a perfect situation. Sometimes you gotta get us in a perfect situation.
yeah,
And can Drew Pine do that consistently against teams that we consider matter for the championship? I don't know. But can he do it with the situation going right? Yeah, he did against Wisconsin. And then he played well enough to stem our defense to blow it out of the water, and he came away with a good victory. But if Drew Pine was starting at the first snap, would that be the final result of the game? We don't know. We've never got a chance to see him a full game.
yeah. Michael Rice says screen poppers. I get it, but I don't think Jack Cohn was a screen popper either. We totally agree with that. Tyler also threw some terrible picks. Jack Cohn threw some terrible picks. that cost us the Cincinnati game, first drive. So all I'm telling you is that coaches watch and they look for special qualities in players. Anytime they see a player step on the field and they see them make plays, they're like, man, we can deal with everything else. But we know if we get him on the field, it's the same thing at the wide receiver position, right? That's like you saw that as soon as Will Fuller got on campus. Like you saw the speed, he was a screen popper, and it's like, we got to get this dude on the field. I understand we got DeVars, I understand we got TJ, but we got to find a way to get this dude on the field and get him the ball. Screens, something, jets, something.
Yeah.
And that's how they felt about Tyler Buckner. Like, we have to get this dude on the field. We have to. And Drew
You
Pine,
can tell early on,
yeah,
early on they didn't really have a plan for Tyler. But because of his talent, they needed him out there. And they just told you what they felt the full capability of Jack was. They're like, all right, there's things Jack can't do that Buckner can do.
yeah,
Buckner, we can't keep him off the field because we will be missing it so much from Jack that we will be doing us a disservice. So they believe in Tyler enough to provide something to the offense, but it wasn't enough to keep Jack, or it wasn't enough to keep him off the field because Jack was playing so well. So I do think, and we got to think too, that Jack Cohn pick, I believe, was a Kelly decision, which I don't think we'll see many more Jack Cohns transferring moving forward with the Freeman decision.
yeah. I'm trying. Gavin Wright, I see you in the chat. I'm searching for the question. If you can type it up again, I'll definitely get to it. But Malik, I see some comments you made, but I didn't see a question form. So I'm sorry I missed it. I think we got all the super chats. That's like what do you like? Are you gonna tell Jalen Smith like Jalen Smith didn't know all the calls? Like he couldn't
Yeah,
go out
like
there and
Jalen
lead the
should have played
defense.
his freshman year. We had Danny Spawn at the time, and But look, Pine,
When you have a dude like that, a talent like that, you gotta let this dude
you gotta
play.
play him. You gotta
You
play
gotta
him.
let this dude
You
play.
gotta play him.
That was the
I
same thing. I
think
think
looking.
it took 3 games for them to see and practice like, yo, okay, we got to get Kyle Hamilton on the field. You just got to get him on the
Yeah,
field.
and you got to think too. Like Drew Pine's been there for a minute, so what was he not doing this whole time before Tyler Buckner got here to not be in position to be playing as a backup or as a starter? He was there before Jack Cohn. He was there before Tyler Buckner, and they got both of those guys and still continue moving over him. So he couldn't have been doing that much of a great job to even hold that spot. So I think he has his benefits. I think he
Yeah.
has a lot of potential. Sometimes you go to the place that just is not the right time for you. Um, I think he can get a lot out of a different school. I think he'll go and win some games at a Vanderbilt or maybe not very. It just depends. It's just a guy that if you put him around the right situation, he can be productive.
So when you look at that situation, is there any other group that you think can be dominant in 2022 besides the obvious?
Yeah, I'm really waiting on the receivers to be dominant. I'm more hoping and expecting them to be dominant. Uh, I think they got the potential. They've always had talent in the group. It's just who's gonna bring it out. Is it Dale? Is it another receiver coach? Is it Tommy's play calling? Is it the quarterback feeding them more? Which one is it gonna be?
All right, here we go. Two-part question. I got you, Gavin, right? Thanks for chiming in and watching. Happy holidays, fellas. Malik, I was really sad in how everything went for you at Notre Dame. I had high hopes you were going to change the narrative a long time ago. Please help our retention of talent and the acquisition of new young talent. We have let too many teams go out without reaching their peak, and Tommy needs to let you help with the quarterbacks. We're trying to get
Yeah,
you a
I will
job,
hundred
bro.
percent.
We're trying to
I
get
will
you a
hundred
job.
percent would be a. I'll be a great quarterback coach for Notre Dame, especially because I played with Tommy, so I already know like kind of what they're trying to do, and I coach quarterbacks now, so I know I'm gonna make them sweet. And a lot of it too, like I said, I would do the recruiting. I think Tommy's just strictly focused on coming up with game plans and mixing matching all this talent that we have and putting out stuff where we can be not only productive on the scoreboard but efficient.
Yeah.
I think we have enough calls and football knowledge to put all our guys that make plays on the field each game and find a way to be productive. I think what takes away from that is the amount of recruiting that goes into it, and that's a lot. It can take away because then you get biased and you get jaded and a bunch of stuff happens. So I think having a guy that can handle those things while you focus on the game plan can help the frustration of feeling like we're desperate for quarterbacks. Well, maybe we're not. Maybe it is just an honest thing, but
Yeah.
I think more organization and support for that room will benefit the team.
Let's see. Johnny one, I think Drew Pine is a little better than you guys think. We didn't say he was bad. I don't think either one of us said it's bad. They asked the question. All we're saying is coaches tend to go with people that have higher ceilings than the steady
And
guy.
he's not a Trace McSorley, like no way.
And
He looked like Trace McSorley.
Trace McSorley failed in big games for Penn
Yeah.
State. He failed in big games. He had Ohio State at home twice and lost both games, both big
Yeah.
games. So it's like, and he had tons of talent around him. Now
And that's the difference too.
you can
Yeah,
blame the
Saquon.
coach, and it's a lot of excuses that you can put out there for why Trace McSorley failed in big games at Penn State. All I'm saying is, and all we've been trying to say is, we have not said that Tyler Buckner is a better quarterback. What we're saying is, coaches look at the two and say Tyler Buckner has a higher ceiling, and we can win a national championship with one, And if we just want to win 10, 11 games, then we can go with Drew Pine. Because Drew Pine is not winning you a national championship. Can
And that's
Tyler
the whole
Buckner,
point we're making. Yeah,
can Tyler Buckner win you one? We don't know.
I don't know.
But he has a higher ceiling than Drew Pine.
And that's all we're saying.
That's all we're saying.
If you acknowledge that Drew Pine isn't an elite ceiling, that's the whole point. We're looking for guys that got the elite ceiling because we know that's going to be the factor to give us championships at where college football is at this point. You don't see any guy that doesn't have an elite ceiling winning the championship right now.
Yeah. And you talked
Even
about
if
your
the defense
displeasure
is
with the quarterback room on yesterday's show and how it needs to be elevated. You talked about that.
yeah, and it's just like even with a great look at Georgia with the superstar defense they have, the quarterback not being elite shows what happens in the games that you need to be elite.
Yep.
And he played all right.
Yep.
He played all right. So that's the performance you can expect from Drew. He'll probably play all right.
Yep.
But it won't be enough. that's the point. That's why we never said Drew was bad. He's just not enough.
Never. We don't think negatively of Drew. We respect Drew. You know?
But Drew versus Bryce Young. Drew versus Bryce Young, I'm just not going with Drew. You know what I mean? And we laughing, but that's the difference. You know, people saying we want Drew, but do you really? I want Drew through the season, but do I want Drew against Georgia or Alabama? Do I think Tyler can do it? I think if anything, if I had to close my eyes in a vacuum, and I'm just going on talent, I would trust a Tyler Buckner with the unknown more than I would trust a guy that I know what I would get from with Drew.
Man, that's crazy. We're sitting here talking about I told you a long time ago he's the people's champ, bro. People want to see Drew Pine. Look, we have to get to a point where we recognize. Well, I'll just say it like this, and you can answer it, bro. Did Alabama lose to Clemson, the program, or did Alabama lose to elite quarterbacks?
Oh, that game they lost to an elite quarterback. Trevor Lawrence was playing his tail off. Them passes, them back shoulder passes, T. Higgins and them boys.
I mean, like, you talking about 18. We go to 16. Deshaun put up in back-to-back years, he put up 1,000. 1,000 total yards.
That's strictly quarterback.
That's
like strictly.
True. Clemson got 2 elite quarterbacks to beat Alabama. Period. Because they weren't stopping.
Alabama defense played good those games. It wasn't like Alabama. I mean, Trevor Lawrence that year was a little different. But overall,
dominant as well.
Yeah, but overall the defenses played
totally dominant that year. Yeah.
Yeah, but those defenses played really well.
Yeah.
Too. And they still, I mean, and you're thinking about, like, for instance, Bryce Young made Georgia's defense look regular. But the problem is Georgia's defense is not regular. So that's like a miss. It's like you'll fool yourself if you think there's other quarterbacks out there like Bryce Young just putting on performances against Georgia like that.
Oh, facts.
So that's the difference between why we need elite quarterbacks is because an elite quarterback can make a Georgia defense look like how Bryce Young did it. With a non-elite quarterback, we're in a tough fight.
Yeah.
And damn near not looking great.
Right.
Like you almost couldn't be a average quarterback against Georgia because it just wouldn't work. Like you have to be elite.
Now, see, this is the thing. And it's just a sneak peek into the matchups because I think we're going to see Georgia, Alabama again. So the challenge for Bryce now is going up against that defense without Mechie, right? And Georgia having the ability to double Jameson. Okay, let's take Jameson out of the game, and we go man-to-man on these youngsters.
But I don't know because they tried to double Jameson. He caught a touchdown on him. Remember they threw the go ball?
He split him on the deep route.
And it's like Georgia's deep. The secondary look like they were just running around with chickens with their head cut off. So I'm like, they ain't even look like I don't know. They did not look prepared on that back end. But
Yeah,
maybe that's just because they never had to be. They front seven was just so good.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy. So when you think about it, when they play again, that's going to be the challenge for Bryce. Can he have this? If Bryce goes ahead and does the same thing with younger receivers, man, look, put that dude in the league right now. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even want him to come back because I don't even want him the chance getting injured like Tua. Just let's send that dude to the league. Sit
Yeah.
out a year. Because that's all I need to see from a young man. And
Yeah,
that's the
it's just
type of quarterback you need to beat elite teams. Cade McNamara is not about to beat Alabama.
no.
Desmond Ritter is not about to
No.
beat Alabama. It's
No.
not happening. It's a wonderful story for
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh. It was nice that they snuck Hutchinson up there in the Heisman room,
Yeah.
right?
They
Wonderful
snuck him through the
story.
back door, by the way.
Wonderful story for Luke Fickell, Cincinnati, the Bearcats. Big win in Notre Dame. Cool. They're not beating Alabama with Desmond Ritter.
No.
You're not. You need an elite quarterback. If you want to win, look, Tommy Rees is on the clock. He knows. We had a question in the chat earlier. You can really get into, someone asked, should we be making a harder push for Nico? You know, considering that Dante Moore might not come to Notre Dame. You can talk about that. My whole point is, before you talk about it, Tommy Rees is on the clock to get one of these dudes.
Yeah, you got to figure out something, and you need one, if not both.
Yes.
Because the thing is, his whole career at Notre Dame is based on who you got at quarterback. It's not even about the plays anymore. Because we know with the right quarterback, them plays gonna look right.
Mm-hmm.
So he is on the clock of finding guys, and Keaton Slovis is not the right direction to start. So right now, his roster is full of a Drew Pine, a Brendan Clark, a Tyler Buckner, Jack. That's not an impressive track list already, Tommy. We need some splashes and some screen poppers that that'll justify why we end up hiring you at 29 years old, offense coordinator.
Okay, here's a question. You can get at this. Is Logan Diggs a screen popper?
He can be. I think he has the size to be a bigger Kyron. I don't know what his hands is like just yet, but I like his in between the tackles, and he's more physical than Kyron, in my opinion. So he can take a little bit more of a beating, but he's got some potential. I think with the running backs in general, they're a screen popper in their own way, but as a collective group, like a running back by committee, they're screen popping. So you mix in some thunder and lightning, and then you bring in a guy like Jaden Price. Somebody's either leaving because there ain't enough footballs on the field for all that talent.
Man. Who are our current screen poppers on offense?
I wouldn't call Michael Mayer a screen popper only because
Borderline?
I don't he's borderline, but we don't ever get it to him enough to where he's being a Gronk in the game, where he's just taking over the game. Nothing they can do can stop him. Double team, triple team, he's out there getting right.
Zoe is the first. Lorenzo Styles is.
Yeah, that's a screen popper because
Yeah.
he catches it and it looks like y'all fast forward in the tape because he's moving. Even on routes where you see, but like as soon as the ball snaps, he gets off the ball. You're like, oh, he's gonna be open. I don't know where he's going, but he got off the ball right. So when you think of screen poppers, Lorenzo Styles is a guy that comes to mind. Um, I think Braden Lindsey can be a screen popper if he gets into the right position because he can fly by guys on reverses. I always think of the one he had against USC a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Took it for about 60 yards. That's a screen pop and play. So there's potential there. But other than that, we got a bunch of good talent. We got a bunch of good guys, which has been our problem. We don't have guys in high pressure situations where it's good on good, where we got difference makers like other teams will have. Like a Jalen Waddle is a screen popper,
Screen
popper,
pop.
popper,
Right.
popper. So if we play the Alabama team when they had Jalen Waddle, we just don't have a Jalen Waddle. We got good guys to get down the field with, but we do not have a Jalen Waddle.
Should the NFL change its 3-year college draft eligibility? There are so many players skipping bowl games, and I think we'll see more Jadeveon Clowney sit-outs going forward.
I don't think so because not that many guys are getting drafted in the first round, and there's not too many guys like Jadeveon.
No.
So I think that's just been a trend. I think guys that like a Kyle Hamilton deserve to sit out. A guy like Kyron in this situation deserves to sit out because he already got thousands of carries on his body. He's done everything he's needed to do for the school. So that's a little different. But then again, it's a guy's choice. Who cares? I think we talked about a guy like Avery Davis. We wouldn't mind a guy like Avery Davis sitting out if he chose to in a game like this because a guy like Lorenzo Styles could pop and really take his career off for a younger guy in this situation. So
Yeah.
I don't think there's more guys sitting out than not. But I do think if you're a top 10 pick bona fide, you should have that right. Or if you're a guy that's tweetering injury, you're trying to really, really avoid injury because you're injury prone, then you have a good reason to sit out as well.
This goes back. I'm going to put up this question, and somebody else had a question that was a little bit longer, pretty much along the same lines. D-Rock Iris says, simple question, tough answer. Do we need a quarterback coach only or continue with the OC quarterback coach with Reeves? And someone earlier in the chat was talking about how many coaches are going to be involved. I can tell you this. Marcus Freeman is going to have positional coaches, and he's going to delegate certain things as far as linebacker coach, outside linebacker, inside linebacker, meaning the staff is going to be more diversified and you're going to have more staff under Marcus Freeman than there was under Brian Kelly. I can
Yeah,
just
I think that would be a great
we'll see
direction.
how it develops.
It would be a great direction to at least have um, some more buffer around Tommy. And I think for him to be still a young OC in his career himself, take more time to be an OC instead of the one man show. I think that'd be better for a clear mind. I think it'd be helpful for building relationships with potential quarterback recruits when there's two of us,
Yeah.
especially for the guys that are already on the roster. If they need help on a technical standpoint that Tommy may not be able to talk to them about, that can
Yeah.
help them be successful in the play or even understanding the plays because Tommy's breaking it down to the whole team. I think that's the benefit where a quarterback coach can come in and provide some relief and not to overstep the OC, but to develop the talent that he's continually expecting a lot out of when they get out on the field. And then even for recruits, to see that development and see there's a guy behind the guy helping him understand and be ready for when he does get his chance. So
Yeah.
I think there's a great opportunity for that to exist. And I think it'll make the offense flow a lot better and there'll be a lot more production coming out of that room instead of the frustrating hit or misses we have sometimes.
And I think, one of the things I would like to see on the staff moving forward is NFL representation. Meaning guys that have coached those particular positions in the NFL. And we talked about it. So if you guys missed it, go to the archives and look at our biting styles episode where we talked about how Nick Saban established the coaching staff, and it was heavily with NFL representation. Guys that knew how to get players to the NFL, could teach on the college level NFL technique, and give them an advantage. And that's something that I would like to see in Notre Dame. I would like to see an NFL, a guy at wide receiver coach that's coached NFL wide receivers. I'm talking about all pro NFL wide receivers that can say, look, I coached him. He's been to the Pro Bowl 8 times. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Bring him to Notre Dame. Let him give that technique and that experience to wide receivers, and let him be able to go out and make that pitch to young wide receivers that are being recruited as well. Like, this is my resume. You come to Notre Dame, I'm going to develop you just like I developed this guy in the NFL. I definitely want to see NFL representation on the staff moving forward. And I think someone that's coached quarterbacks in the NFL will be perfect to go alongside Tommy Rees to be able to develop these young quarterbacks that you get into the quarterback room at Notre Dame.
Man, I think that's a great point, especially if you look at what's transpired over this recruiting season and how much
Yeah.
an NFL player can impact recruiting. I really don't believe Travis Hunter went to Jackson State because he liked Jackson State.
No.
I 100% believe that the NFL influence from one of the greatest guys to do it at his position was the de facto reason why he went there. And I think that just proves that if we could take that same NFL example and put it at Notre Dame, maybe we get Peyton Manning for a season. I guarantee you we would get every recruit out there. So that's a slam dunk recruiting pitch to get a guy. I mean, you got prime. I mean, it's hard to. No recruiting coach in college football can out recruit a guy, Deion Sanders, who, I mean, how you gonna do that? There's
I
nothing you
mean,
can offer.
you
Nothing
got
you can offer the kid.
somebody sitting at Alabama before Nick Saban walks into the living room. Bill O'Brien walks into the living room and says, I developed Deshaun Watson. So if you come to Alabama, I'm going to develop you the same way I developed Deshaun Watson.
It's a slam dunk.
It's
It's a slam dunk.
And Nick Saban
So,
hasn't even made a call.
and that's why it comes down to guys going to the right fit. I doubt that most of these guys are not going because they fall in love with the economics course at the school or because they see a huge alumni fundraising event that happens every year. They really go because of the benefit of what the football career can provide. And that's just really the missing piece for Notre Dame. Give Notre Dame something of value to the NFL aspect where guys feel like if I go here, it's a lock, not just because it's a premium private school that plays on national television, but because they got Peyton Manning as a quarterback coach. So I know if I'm going there, I know I got a future that's almost guaranteed, sort of like how the Nick Saban does. Nick Saban tell you straight up, we're going to win championships, you're going to get to the league. He can say that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a short conversation that churns out a lot of results because kids know that to be true. So outside of the 4 for 40, that touch of an NFL presence and a lock in a bigger sense will give us the recruits we're looking for.
Absolutely. P-Dub, I need you to clarify a bad example on that one. I don't know which one you're talking about. Let's see. I don't think that's going to happen. But Michael Wright said it seems like Tommy relates to the average, above average, low floor guys or the high ceiling guys. Never seen to be super hype about him. Thoughts?
We already said he recruit guys that play and look like him. So, I mean, what? I think if anything, what he'll come to find out is that when that game's on the line, you're going to need some difference makers that may or may not look like you.
Yeah. Oh, Bill O'Brien. I mean, it's not a bad example. That's on his resume.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien got to
disagree about. Well, I hope you're not saying Deshaun Watson isn't a good quarterback. I hope that's not what you're saying. Because if you're saying that, regardless of what you think about him off the field, I could care less. That dude threw for almost 5,000 yards with trash at wide receiver in the NFL. So we can stop that. I hope that's not what you're saying. Okay. He said no. I was about to say, wait a minute. Look, Bill O'Brien had him his first 2 years, won a playoff game with the kid, got fired, and really didn't get fired. He didn't like the way that the ownership was building around. They were trading away the best players, and he didn't like the way they were getting rid of players when they had one of the best developing young quarterbacks, and he walked away. And if that wasn't the situation, he would have been there with Deshaun Watson for his historical season. So he very much has something to do with the development of Deshaun Watson. I'm not about to sit here and say, no, you can't give him that. He had the young man for the first 2 years of his NFL career. He was the GM, but ultimately he was being overridden by not Nick Caserio, but the guy that they brought in from New England was trumping him in decisions. And that's why he didn't have full control. Yes, I'm the GM, but you keep trumping my decisions as GM. Man, no, here. I want to get out of here. He didn't want to get rid of DeAndre Hopkins. Like, you see, like the moves they were making, getting rid of the left tackle. Like all these
Larry Tunsil.
Absolutely. So as a GM, you have to go to the owner and the guy that over president of football operations and say, man, will you spend this check? Will you spend this money to keep this guy? I want to keep this guy. And when you get pushback from the owner and his guys, as the GM, you're handcuffed. So that was the situation with Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien got a raw deal. He got a raw deal in that situation because he got a lot of blame for a lot of situations that he had no control over from a financial standpoint. It's like, man, if I can't spend, man, I'm shopping for you, but you give me a limited budget.
That's true.
That affects the way I can shop. I can't go to Rodeo Drive if you don't give me a black card. You give me a black card, I can go to Rodeo Drive.
Yep.
You give me a card with a $2,000 limit, man, I got to go to Melrose.
You got to go to Melrose.
I go to Melrose to a couple of thrift stores. That's flat out, and that was the situation. So Bill O'Brien got a raw deal. He got a raw deal. Bill O'Brien knows how to talk offense, build offense, and develop quarterbacks. Period. And it goes beyond his time in Houston. It goes back to New England. It goes back to his time before that. Bill O'Brien knows what he's doing. If he didn't, Nick Saban wouldn't have hired. That's the crazy thing. Like Brian Dable was thought of as the same way. Questionable hire. Went to Alabama, successful. Now he's in Buffalo, successful. Yeah. Like people think, man, look, if Nick Saban hires you, you're intelligent because he wants people around him that can think the game on his level or even greater.
That's right.
So think it not strange that, people thought, well, is the offense going to take a step back with Bill O'Brien being the OC now in Alabama? No. So
Alabama ain't take a step back in how long?
Even if you don't, I'm sorry. Even if you don't want to give him credit for Deshaun Watson, what about Bryce and Mac Jones?
Yeah.
You got to give him credit for Mac and Bryce. You don't have to give him credit for Deshaun. But who's coaching Bryce?
And doing a good job. Got a Heisman winner out of Bryce.
So even if he walks in the living room and never mentions Deshaun Watson, he can tell the recruit, did you see Bryce Young this past year?
Yeah, this past year. I did that recently.
Yeah. Can you see him this past year? That's crazy. Yo, who was this idiot talking crazy in the chat, man?
Yeah, I seen that.
Man, look. That's just my. I think he got a raw deal, and hopefully he overcomes that and is able to get his respect back. Let's go, bro.
Petticoat. Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing. Now, you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historian?
Yo, Petty Junction each and every day. And to all you sports fans out there, all you college football, NFL fans, I want to apologize to you for the ineptitude that was put on display last night on Monday Night Football from Soldier Field. I want to throw the entire coaching staff and offensive side of the ball for the Chicago Bears on the petty train. 5 trips inside the 20-yard line in the red zone, a total of 3 points. Ryan Day can't get here. Ryan Day can't get here fast enough. And I'm so glad that the NFL instituted a new rule that you can start looking for coaches and interviewing coaches 2 weeks before the season ends now. Let's get the process going.
Oh, yeah.
Send the PJ down to Columbus. See, this is twofold for me. I'm being petty. You can throw me on because I'm being petty. Because I need him to come to Chicago, right? So that Tony Alford is free. So that Brian Hart.
So you're signing on Ryan Day already.
Man, I need the Bears ownership to make this happen fast. Give him the blank check. Do us a favor here at Notre Dame. Do us a favor. Do us a solid. Man, dude, that was the worst. 5 times inside the 20, 3 points.
It looked like it was hard to do.
Oh, man.
What's up with your boys, man?
Man. Look, and everybody can get it. Justin.
Everybody can get it.
Not knowing to throw the ball away on a screen pass. If it's not there, just throw it at the feet of the running back. Throw a perfect pass. Can't get both feet down in the end zone. Jimmy Graham dropping passes in the end zone. And also, the NFL is petty. Because the line was 7.5. The Bears score on the last play, and according to NFL rules, when the extra point has no bearing on the outcome of the game,
you can't kick it.
You don't have to kick it. Is that the referee's discretion? That's a big point, man. A lot of people lost money on that extra point not being kicked. There's a lot of angry people in the world this morning. NFL is petty with that rule. It doesn't do. What does it take? Another 10 seconds to line up and kick the extra point?
But they did that, had to be because of Vegas. Because you're gonna that's like continuation rule. If I get fouled, and I continue with the bucket, you count the bucket. You gotta count that extra point, man.
No, this is a good question. Would Tony and Brian follow Dave to Chicago?
If that check was talking right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a good question.
And they wouldn't have, and Tony Alford wouldn't have to recruit. Hell yeah, I know he learned.
NFL check and won't have to recruit. I think the Bears. I think the Notre Dame running back room is more attractive than the Bears running back room. I'm gonna keep it
for sure. For sure. Now, for sure. Wait, yeah.
If he's looking at checks, hey.
The only thing you get with Notre Dame is security because we're going to be there for a minute.
And Brian Hartline would definitely choose his boy over Ryan Day. I'll just put that out in the atmosphere. I don't know. Would you choose your boy over a check? That's a darn good question, bro.
It depends.
How far does loyalty go? Would you really choose your boy over a check? Because you would have to discuss that with the significant other. Like, man, I understand the check is much better, but this is my boy. I really want to support my boy.
It just depends on what it is. Because my boy should be supportive if the number's right enough.
But what if your boy could get close enough to that number?
What do you think Coach Kelly thought? He said, I'm getting that bag.
Well, we found out that Coach Kelly was trying to get that bag in the middle of the season.
Yeah. He was like, listen.
He was like, man, any more money? Is there some more money in the coffers? Just straight.
I gotta send that collection plate around a couple more times. No.
Went to Jack Swarbrick, and that cat Jack told him, "Nah, it's not happening, bro."
He said that collection plate has ran dry.
That's
the cup running dry.
That's the last re-up you get.
It's the last supper for you, bro.
The last re-up. You're not about. I'm not your prop Joe anymore, dude.
Oh no.
The last re-up. Oh man. This is crazy, bro. I mean, and dude, Justin Fields is almost threw for like 300 yards. Had a quarterback rating of like 98.2 or something like that.
Lord.
I think they held Minnesota to like 180 total yards, and the Bears had almost 400 yards of total offense, and just found a way to get a game away. Just found the way. Omar Austin said, how big of a check are we talking about? All right, Omar, let's throw a number out there. Let's say the Bears are offering Tony Alford $2.3 million to be the running back coach in the NFL. And like Malik said, no recruiting, practices, film work, go to the crib.
It's real smooth. It ain't even as tough as college is.
And then Marcus Freeman is like, yo, I can give you 2.1. I can give you 2.1 expenses.
No PJ.
Nice little penthouse on Eddy Street. We pay for your crib. You know, just sweeten the deal. Or Brian, or yeah. So there you go. There you go, Omar. What do you think about that? It's only like $1 million difference. That sounds crazy. Delete that because that's a big difference. I can't say
it's a big difference.
$1 million.
See, don't let people sleep on that. That's a huge difference.
That's a huge difference. It's not like we're talking about like a couple of thousand. $1 million is a huge difference. And I gotta come back at you yesterday. And man, I might put this up for the poll and see what LL Nation, because you said, man, we gotta simplify things. And you know, you got the milk. Notre Dame is the milk. It's always gonna be there. We got to get chocolate chip cookies. We got to stop looking for these other off brands. Just go ahead and get the chocolate chip cookie. Right?
You got to, because
I'm an oatmeal raisin guy, dog, bro. I felt offended.
We were just talking classic.
You lost the sound right quick.
We said we just talking classic. We need the commercial style, like the ones you see on that the people know.
Okay.
Not too many people. You're gonna get some sour faces if you talk about oatmeal raisin, because not everybody rocking with the raisin.
Dude, oatmeal raisin, the best cookie ever made, bro.
Oh man, see, look, the chocolate chips, the fan favorite, the people's champ.
Nah, see, oatmeal raisin is like, it is what it is across the board. Chocolate chip, it depends on who makes it.
Huh?
Yeah.
The consensus is gonna give you good reviews.
Bro, Chips Ahoy is trash.
Not the Chips Ahoy thins.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's always gotta be specific. That's my point. Oatmeal raisin is just oatmeal raisin. With chocolate chip, it's like it's gonna be a Chips Ahoy thin.
That's a good point. That's
chewy,
a good point.
Right? Or it's gotta be Matt's chocolate chip. or it's got to be
Yeah,
this
straight
brand of
up.
chocolate chip. Man, that's my point. That's my point.
Okay,
Oatmeal
that's a
raisin,
good
the
one.
greatest cookie ever made. It's the greatest cookie ever made. Unless you just get your own cookie dough and make them at the crib.
See, the only oatmeal I'm eating is the frosted oatmeal. That was the back in the
The
day snack.
Archway
See,
joints,
yeah, the Archway
the
joints.
Archway that's a
The
beast.
frosted
Yes,
oatmeal.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
They
sir.
don't make stuff like that no more.
You went back to your high school days there, walking home from school, stopping at the corner store. I know where your mind went.
Yes. Those are the
That's that
greatest
corner
cookies of
store.
all time. The greatest gas station snack of all time.
Hey, the Archway, that lemon frosted Archway.
Better than
Yeah.
Girl Scout.
I'm seeing most people love that thin mint.
I'm not a Thin Mint fan. I'd rather go good Samoas. Samoas
You like the
before Thin
Samoa?
Mint.
See, I can't do coconut.
I don't either, but those you don't even know it's coconut until somebody tell you. That's all. They told you it was coconut, and then you start turning and twisting your face, and oh, you act like you didn't like it, but before you was licking fingers and all types of stuff. Then somebody say coconut.
Omar finally answered and said, "See, the way my bank account is set up, I can't be leaving $900K on the table unless I'm in an Elston situation."
I think Elston really went down there and was like, all right, Kelly, I've been your boy for this long. Am I going to be the D coordinator or not? And he was like, no.
I'll tell you this, though. And I'm keeping it a buck, Omar. 2.1 in South Bend goes a whole lot further than 3 mil in Chicago. That's
45 minutes up the street.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, living in man, we talking about city of Chicago tax included with the Illinois tax on that 3 mil and the cost of living.
Yeah, no chance. No chance.
Gavin, I disagree with you, my guy, respectfully. There are numerous trash oatmeal raisin cookies. I disagree.
There are numerous trash oatmeal raisin.
I disagree. I mean, there are numerous trash chocolate chip cookies. Fact. That hard Chips Ahoy is trash.
The hard Chips Ahoy trash?
Trash. Trash.
I think we might have to end on that one because I don't think we're gonna lose subscribers. You talk about that chocolate chip.
No doubt. Chocolate chip is second. It's cool. Chocolate chip is like Clemson right now.
Second. I don't know about that one.
There you go. Your boy said they're gonna send more super chats to us to get you off that phone, get you back on your computer.
That's okay. That's okay. We're gonna get back. We're gonna get back rocking, man. We get that raffle right, we're gonna get right.
Yeah, the cat Nolan backing me up. Like, man, no, he's not even gonna be living in downtown Chicago. If he's coaching for the Bears, he's living up there in Lake Forest.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Lake Forest.
Oh, go look at the price of homes and apartments and condos in Lake Forest and get back at it.
Hell yeah.
Carnivorous lunar activity, the macadamia. Now, Mrs. Fields has a white chocolate macadamia cookie.
Is it something serious?
It's pretty fire, bro.
If it's not better than Subway's cookie, the white macadamia of Subway.
Subway has about 4 go-tos. I could rock with every cookie at Subway.
Oh, for sure.
Chocolate chip, peanut butter, oatmeal raisin, like
and the white cheesecake, the white raspberry cheesecake.
I've yet to try that
one. Oh, got to. I don't even like cheesecake, but I like cheesecake when I had that.
You endorse that one?
I endorse that one 100%.
So I don't know if you've ever, the next time, if you're ever in Chicago, I got to take you to Hyde Park. It's this cookie spot called Insomnia Cookies.
Oh, yeah. We got one out here.
You got one out there? Bro.
Those are the unhealthiest cookies you can get, though.
You ain't lying. Sugar
I'm like, why y'all make these so greasy? Y'all make the greasiest cookies?
Now, that's the most fire. That double chunk chocolate chip is the most fire chocolate chip I've ever had.
No, straight up.
But around Easter time, they have an exclusive cookie that is a white lemon chocolate. White chocolate lemon. It only comes out around Easter.
You might have to do that.
Yeah. You know what else? When I came to LA, I stayed a week. What's her name has a cookie company? What's the singer's name? That Mariah Carey's cookies. They deliver. She doesn't have a spot, no physical location. They deliver on, I think it was on DoorDash.
Wow.
Mariah Carey cookies.
I'm gonna have to try that.
The man, soft, very soft.
Okay. Yeah.
Look them up.
Look, we might have to get the subscribers to super chat us so we can try them on air.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do, man. One day we're gonna do chocolate chip trash day, oatmeal raisin trash day.
Yeah.
You get your 3 favorite brands of chocolate chip. I'll get my 3 favorite brands of oatmeal
We're
raisin.
gonna get it on for sure. We're gonna get it right.
Back to the archway though. I might have to
The
drive
frosted oatmeal cookies. You might have to go. Get you some today.
That's what's up. Yeah. Gavin Wright says one in Austin too. Yeah, I'm all for Insomnia. It's a dope date spot too because they stay open late.
That's right.
They stay open late. Dope little. Oh, this is a good question because I asked this question to someone last night. Do you think Harrison Smith is a Hall of Famer? Before you get that, is Harrison Smith a better pro than he was a college player?
I mean, just through longevity, you would have to say so. I mean, Harrison Smith is a bona fide safety that, I mean, just the consistency you have to appreciate. If he can get an Iron Man award, he should, because I don't remember safety. I don't even remember them having 2 black safeties ever. Outside of Harrison. So he's established himself as a safety that has been through the test of time. Yeah. I think without a doubt he's a Hall of Fame, even though he doesn't have the Super Bowl rings. I know the accolades are probably something that a safety probably wouldn't touch in Minnesota history for a long time.
Yeah, John A1 says he was a better college player that didn't get the appreciation on either level. No, he gets much love in the NFL. I'm tell you, sure. Yeah, cats rave.
He wouldn't be there if he wasn't getting love, you know.
They rave about Harrison. Man, the media loves Harrison Smith.
That's right.
Loves Harrison Smith. I don't know how we're not using Harrison Smith, you know, on that resume of safeties in the NFL.
Yeah.
But man, we definitely need that. Suggestion for you. Need to check out Oh My God Cookies.
That's kind of hard. Oh my God.
It is. That is hard. I'm gonna have to check it out online. And I think we have one more suggestion. Oh, John A1 says, yeah, Mariah is our own point. I'm telling you.
Cool.
She's out there in LA, dude. Yeah. Have them delivered. So that's it for today, man. Subscribe.
That's it for today, man. Subscribe.
Like. We give you plenty of content. We have former Notre Dame wide receiver and now minor league baseball player Torrey Hunter is going to be joining us this week. Friday, we'll have the giveaway. We'll be giving away. Is it a pair of tickets, bro?
My guy got them, so I'm gonna ask if it's 1 or 2. Okay.
So we'll get more information to you, but we'll have a ticket giveaway to the Fiesta Bowl coming up on Friday. Go to OnoraWhisky.com, purchase some of that premium American whiskey, and then take a picture of the receipt or take a picture of the receipt with yourself and get that over to Malik or Lucky Lefty Podcast on Twitter or Instagram. And Overtime Malik at SD2 Mics and at Lucky Lefty Pod. Don't forget, the podcast is also available on Apple Podcasts. We drop it over there each and every day. Rex Mics, appreciate you, my brother. Mad love to you as well. Mad love to everybody in LL Nation. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Here we go.
That's right. They clean it healthy and they clean up your system. That's right.
Yeah, right. Now you're going to start telling me to drink prune juice.
For my boy, my fam, my partner, the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire. I'm Shaun Davis, SD2 Mics, man. Have an incredible, incredible Tuesday. And as always, spend it different today. We'll see you
That's
guys
right.
tomorrow.